Whenever I make a dessert, I always put a lot of effort into making sure that it looks good. Yes, we all know we want the dessert to taste good, but there's just something special about it looking good too. In the last video, we talked about ways to manage anxiety. In this video, we're going to talk about how to deliver your speech. How to basically make your speech look and sound good, to be the icing on the cake. Let's talk about different ways that we can deliver a speech. There's impromptu delivery style. If you use impromptu delivery style, you are essentially winging it. Now, impromptu speeches should only be done when there's very little notice and you don't have much time to prepare these. Keep in mind, an impromptu speech should never be used for a formal classroom presentation. You will usually always have enough time to adequately prepare those, so make use of your time. In an impromptu delivery style, you can be conversational, you can feel that spontaneity, but because of that lack of preparation, you may not have a clear understanding of the material, and you may not be able to communicate that clear understanding. Then there's manuscript delivery style. This is where you write your entire speech out, word for word, and you read it. Now, this style is very commonly used with people who are giving political speeches or even our newscasters who are reading from a teleprompter. Because they have to make sure their wording is exact, they use a manuscript style. Keep in mind, using a manuscript style sometimes hurts your physical delivery because you don't move as much. Your eye contact is usually hurt by this style, and even your vocal delivery because you don't sound as conversational. Then there's the memorized delivery style. This is where you write every single word down and you quote back your speech from memory. Now, you're allowed to move a lot more so your physical delivery feels freer. You can maintain a lot more eye contact. Your vocals are usually stronger because you can be conversational. But then there's always that issue of what happens if I forget? And if your memory fails, uh-oh. Then there's the extemporaneous delivery style. If you remember a little bit earlier in different videos, I said that you are aiming for this style with your informative speech. With the extemporaneous delivery style, you are fully prepared, yet you haven't written down every single word you want to say. This allows you to be a lot freer in your physical movement, to sound conversational with your vocal delivery because it's not so practiced. And because you're fully prepared, you don't have to worry if you forget something or if you don't cover some material as deeply as you like. Now, there are benefits and weaknesses to each one of these, but remember, we're aiming more for the extemporaneous style with our informative speech. If you're somewhere between manuscript and memorized style, I urge you very strongly to practice more, and it may lend itself to being more extemporaneous. Now, when it comes to aspects of your vocal delivery, remember, think about your vocal quality. Now, when I ask you to think about your vocal quality, I'm not saying that you need to change your voice completely, but be aware of the impact of your voice. Is it nasally? Maybe does your voice sound harsh or thin, or maybe even just resonant and full-bodied? Be aware this is going to affect your listener. If the listeners like the quality of your voice, they'll also probably be more likely to listen to you. Now, while you don't have much flexibility in that category, you can always adjust the quality of your tone. You can sound excited and confident. Your listeners will also love that. If you sound afraid, or angry, or tired, or like you don't care, that will also translate in your vocal quality. When it comes to intelligibility, remember, have proper volume. The people in your audience need to be able to clearly hear you. If you can tell that some people are straining to hear you, go ahead and raise your volume up a little bit. If you've been told Hey, you have a soft voice. You may have to talk a lot louder than what feels comfortable for you. Be aware not to yell. Don't scare anyone in the room either. So make sure that you're clearly heard and understood, but not scaring off anybody. Pronunciation. Now, we all, time to time, mispronounce words, so I'm not asking you to be perfect, but be aware of what's considered the appropriate pronunciation of your word. I had a student one time who gave a speech about Barbie dolls, and she kept saying Mattel, Mattel. And it took me a while to realize what she meant to say was Mattel, the company that creates Barbie. Because of that issue of her pronunciation, I wasn't able to connect with her information in the same way, and it caused some confusion with, well, what's Mattel? Mattel? I've never heard of that term before. How's that related to Barbies? And even in that small instant of me being confused, it took away something from me understanding her speech. Also, think about your grammar. Yes, you know that your instructor will be bothered by your grammar, but even your classmates will be bothered by your grammar. Hearing we is may throw people off, and they may think, well, we shouldn't listen to someone who uses improper grammar. If you know that your grammar is not the best, I would go ahead and urge you to work with someone who does have good grammar. Talk with them a little bit more. Maybe start catching yourself when you say things that you realize, hey, that's not the way I should say it. And don't forget to articulate. Articulate is clearly pronouncing all of those individual parts of a word individually. I had a drama teacher one time who taught articulation like this. It is important to articulate. And by hearing all those very strong, sharp T's, I clearly understood, okay, pronounce everything clearly. Make sure I produce those sounds. Also think about your vocal variety, the variations in your rate, pause, force, and pitch. No one wants a monotone speaker. So by having those variations, it's going to sound highly conversational. It's going to sound like it's not been rehearsed to the point where it's dead. Think about your rate, how fast or how slow you're speaking. Too fast and no one understands you. Too slow and people may get bored. Think about your pauses. This is an important thing for people to remember. It is okay to pause. Typically, those vocal fillers of like, you know, all of those are really just vocalized pauses where the speaker was a little bit nervous and didn't want to pause. But guess what? Go ahead and pause. Sometimes you can emphasize things just by pausing. Did you catch that? I paused. Think about your force, how strongly you say something. The intensity can totally change the feel of your speech into something that's boring, or maybe something that you feel strongly and confident about. And remember to think about your pitch, how high or how low your tone is. By having some rhythm in your pitch overall, that can eliminate that monotony. So I'm going to talk about personal appearance in a later video, but remember, for your speech, you need to dress business professional. You want your audience to think, wow, this person is really trying to set a good first impression. Now when it comes to body movement and gestures, remember, this is going to be a way that your audience picks up who you are and how you feel. Think about it. Someone who's walking back and forth very hurriedly, you may think, well, they're nervous, they're pacing. Sometimes I notice students will grab the podium or sway back and forth. And at a subconscious level, these are just security blankets, ways that student is trying to soothe him or herself. Make sure that your body movement is enhancing your overall speech. If you want to show how something is small, Use your fingers to show how small it is, or open your arms up wide to show how big it is. That enhances people's idea of what you're talking about a little bit more than just saying it. Facial expressions. This may even be the stronger tell of how people feel about their speech or about public speaking. Remember, people can read what you feel in your face. So if you're warm and friendly and excited about what you have to say, people can see that. If you feel intimidated or nervous, don't let your face show it. Fake it until you make it here. If you need to force a smile, within reason, go ahead and force that smile. And probably one of the first things I teach people to do is to make eye contact. Remember, it's important to make that connection with your audience members. If you don't look them in the eye, that's your first missed opportunity when it comes to making a connection. Remember, you don't want to stare anybody down and intimidate anybody, but you also don't want to look just at your notes or look at the floor or the ceiling. Give everyone in the room just a little bit of eye contact so they know that you're trying to connect what you're saying to them. And lastly, practice. As you practice, remember to begin with small segments. Maybe you don't need to start off saying your entire speech. Maybe just say your introduction, or say your body, or your conclusion, and then piece those parts together. That way you can see if anything doesn't feel right and effectively change that in the moment. I advise you to try to practice in the room where you know you will speak. This will give you a feel of what it will be like on speech day. Remember to concentrate on the content and the audience. Don't get so worked up in trying to be the most amazing speaker that ever existed on the face of the earth. Again, just be yourself. Make that connection. So again, in this video, we talked about methods of delivery, different vocal and physical aspects of your delivery, and some things to think about as you practice.